The goal of this podcast is to help you break in and thrive in advertising. We do that every single week by sharing the stories and advice of those rocking it on the other side. Today, you will learn from one of the best in the advertising industry. Today, we have on Aaron Starkman. Aaron is the Global Chief Creative Officer at Rethink. Rethink should be in your brain. Because what I'm about to say, all these accolades are just incredible. There's so many. I'm going to try my best to read through these. You will get the gist by the end of this. Aaron helped lead Rethink to become Ad Age's Creative Agency of the Year 2 of the last 3 years, the 2022 Global Independent Agency of the Year by Campaign Magazine, the #1 independent agency in the world at the Clios in 2022. They earned Ad Age's #1 ad in the world this year, the Effie's Independent Agency of the Year for North America, the #2 ranked independent agency in the world in Cannes this year, top 3 indie network in the world in Cannes for 3 years in a row, making Rethink the only agency to accomplish this. Aaron also led Rethink to win Canada's Agency of the Year for the 5th straight time this year, a feat that's never been achieved before. Wow. Aaron's creative direction has resulted in NBC News and the Huffington Post calling the agency viral specialists. There's more. I mean, that's just about Rethink. You know, he's the #1 CCO in the world, Ad Age top 5 CCO in the last 2 years. He's won more Cannes Gold Lions on more brands than any other creative in Canada. Aaron is also on Campaign's prestigious 40 over 40 list. You get the gist, everybody. That's like the whole intro. But let me summarize. I'm tossing the script away, taking a sip of coffee. What I love about this episode is that Aaron kind of talks about how he broke into advertising and the hustle that went into this. We know his accolades now because I just took an hour to read it, but it wasn't always like that. He talks about his first couple jobs, how he struggled in the beginning, and the turning point. So you're going to hear how he got here. I suggest you listen to the whole thing. I suggest you reach out to me, Gino Schellenberger, if you have any questions, you want to connect with him. He also, at some point in the episodes, tells you how you can connect with him. I'm not going to tell you when he says that, but you have to listen for that. You're going to love this. It's super special. I love the work they're doing. And now on with the show. This is the Breaking and Entering Advertising Podcast. And as usual, I'm your accomplice, Gino Schellenberger. Kick it, Mikey. All right. Aaron Starkman, welcome to the Breaking and Entering Advertising Podcast. How the heck are you today, sir?
Hello. Really good, Gino. Thanks for having me.
Where are you at right now at this moment in your life? Mentally
confused. I'm in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, right now, and I'm in a boardroom at Rethink, the main boardroom, but talking on my phone because we tried it before and there was an echo.
Right.
So there you go.
The mysterious echo.
Yeah.
We fixed it, and it sounds great now.
Yeah, I just got to talk from a phone.
Yeah. What are we going to talk about today? I think first things first, you're the global CCO at Rethink, Global Creative Leader of the Year by Campaign Magazine, as well as in your LinkedIn title. So obviously, you must be pretty good at this stuff. Is that?
Rethink has been doing great in recent years, and I happen to be in this position, and there's 450 awesome people, and I get way too much of the credit, and I don't deserve it. But some things like whatever Global Creative Leader of the Year, whatever, like these prizes go out. That's not a prize for me. That's a prize for the agency. So any whatever personal accolades I get is they're not personal at all. They're just a representation of how the agency is doing.
What was the first major accolade you won for work that you were super hands-on? It was your idea. You first got into the industry. What was that award? What was the campaign? Tell me about that first one when you really kind of broke through.
Before that happened, I'm going to tell you, but it was a crazy moment because it was actually my first ever spot, but a little bit of context that where I was.
Me?
Yeah.
The first ever spot was the one
my first ever spot as a junior was the thing that, kind of helped me get known and solidified my career. And it was important at the time because I had gotten fired like 3 times. It was a weird time in terms of the financial shit going on. Stock market crashes, a whole bunch of stuff. But I also started to think, maybe I'm not any good. Because, often me and my partner just got canned, maybe with another team or two, but like we weren't the ones staying, we were like kind of first ones out, first ones in, first ones out. So I was kind of more fragile than normal. I got a job at an agency called Zig, right? After getting canned a whole bunch of times in 2 years. So all this kind of happened in like my first 2 years.
Oh.
So my advice for anyone breaking into the industry is, if you get canned, it could be the best thing that ever happens to you. It kind of made me appreciate being in the business. Don't take anything for granted. You also get a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. You try harder than most people because you don't want to get canned again. Right. So anyways, fast forward, I'm a few months in to a new job, hoping I don't get fired again. That's, it's like,
it's a good goal. It's a good
right. Goal. It's a good goal. But I am working really hard. I'm trying really hard. A brief goes out to a couple senior teams, and they don't want to do it. It's for a cleaning product with oxygenated micro bubbles called Vim Cream Cleanser, and they didn't want to. Yeah, they didn't want to do it. Like there's and I get it. There was no good ads ever on this brand. They had like happy blue guys in suits, and like there was the thousands of oxygenated bubbles, like they were blue guys in suits. So since we got the brief, my partner Steven and I, and after people turned it down, they're like, listen, they're busy and this is like kind of like no opportunity. And we looked at the brief and, we're both kind of newish to this, but we looked at the brief and said to each other, are we nuts? Or like, is this a really good brief? So the shout it from the mountain, or like the one simple sentence, like the one thing on the brief that they really wanted to communicate. Shelley Brown was the planner at the time. She wrote a brilliant brief. The one thing they wanted to communicate was cleaning sucks. That was on the brief. Cleaning sucks. Wait, like, whoa. No one ever says that. Anytime I see cleaning ads, I see happy people dancing. They're happy. There's like oxygenated blue bubble people. But it's like happy and cheesy. And this says cleaning sucks. The reason why it said cleaning sucks is because these oxygenated bubbles, they just help you like spend less time cleaning, right?
Which is what I want. I don't want to spend a lot of time cleaning.
Right. You don't want to it's like there's nothing good about cleaning. There's nothing good about it. It's awful. And
the gunk in the sink, like the kitchen sink.
Yeah, bathroom grime. So
yes, I leave that. I let that marinate.
It's disgusting. And I'm a bit of a slob, unfortunately. So like cleaning isn't so much in my repertoire in life. We my partner and I, late at the agency one night, we started experimenting with the competitor's brand, which was a fantastic spray. And we were like spraying it on the caked on pasta sauce, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the grime in the sink, just all the things that you would use Vim for. And it was like, it was awful. It did suck. So it kind of felt like we were in a prison. We wrote that down. It's like, yeah, it feels like, ugh, like this is the worst thing ever. There's nothing worse than this. It's like being in a prison. We wrote down a million thoughts. And then it's like, we looked at that. Oh, it's like being in a prison. And we wrote a little thought down, one of many. And this ended up being my big break. I'll tell you the ad, as you asked. At the time, this is how long ago it was. Charlize Theron won the Academy Award for Monster. She played a serial killer, and a lot of the movie she's wearing like an iconic orange prison jumpsuit.
Yeah.
And there's like kind of there's scenes of her having visitation and like someone's seeing her and it's sad. So we kind of just like thought about that. I'll explain it right. This is a daughter goes to visit her mother in prison. There's sad music and it's not at all funny. Like it's sad. And the daughter puts her hand on like, the visitation glass and so the daughter puts her hand up like as I'm doing right here. Your listeners can't see that, but I'm putting my hand up and the mom puts her hand up on the glass too. And the daughter says, like in a real sad voice, when are you going to get out of here? The mom says back, in a while, in her orange jumper. And then the mom says, I got to get back. And she leaves, right? Because she has to go to her cell or whatever. At this point, we cut wide. It's not a prison. Mom is in a bathtub with like a fantastic cleaner. The glass is the shower door glass. And it continues playing on. The sad music is swelling now. And the daughter goes, I love you. And then the mom goes, you too, baby. And then she starts spraying and she's not getting out the bathroom grime. And it says, spend less time cleaning. Vim. That's it. Cleans the tough stuff. That was it. And then from getting canned and not knowing my future in advertising, 2 months after the spot came out, I also never really won any awards. 2 months after the spot comes out, we happen to win a contest to go to Cannes.
Oh,
right?
nice.
Like, so the Young Creative. So we're in Cannes on a free trip.
Nice.
And we get a call from our boss, Elspeth, who's amazing. And while we were in Cannes, it says, do you guys have like jackets or blazers? Because that's what people wear when they go up the red carpet and then go up on stage to get their gold lion. So, right. So it was like, I'm like, yeah. So it was nuts. It was nuts. Like it was just so surreal. So just in that moment, it just a wave of emotions. So it wasn't just like some award or winning some award. It was like, oh, I'm decent at this. I feel like redeemed, some sort of redemption. And I also I kind of feel like a little bit solidified, like maybe, this will help. Like gold lions aren't like like they don't grow on trees, right? So
Right,
I'm like,
right.
and, other people, in Canada say, this is a big deal, man. Like, and I didn't totally know, but, I learned what a big deal it was kind of after that.
Wow. So
Yeah.
from getting canned to getting canned.
Let's go. Yeah. That's it.
That's incredible. So that
Yeah.
was like a 2-year span in your career?
Yeah.
The
Like
first,
first,
couple years?
that was it. Like the first 2 years, like, working 8 months, getting canned, working
Holy
a
cow.
year, getting canned. And then, yeah, like, so that was kind of it.
What I'm my freaking award / PR comms like background is curious. Like, did they submit it without you knowing, and like, or did you, maybe you knew and like, you didn't
No,
know
I
what it
knew.
was?
I knew. I knew they submitted it, but they also submitted like 17 other things. And,
Right.
that was the only thing
Comedy
that.
category? It wasn't comedy. I think they just created comedy. What was the category?
Um, like cleaning products or no, like household products.
Got it.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
And
And
it's
back
relevant.
then, it was just kind of film, right? It was like that was it. Like people get excited for film, on the final night now, but that was it. There was no there was no other categories. It was just that was it. And it
Great.
was crazy.
And it's relevant because right now, I mean, I graduated in 2020 and we've seen the market go kind of like crazy since then. Uh, you know, people are worried about jobs and employment rates are tough right now. So maybe it wasn't as, I don't know how to compare it to if there was a recession when you were breaking in. I think that these lessons are super important. And even taking that brief that the senior team didn't see anything in, you like took that stab. So all of this is really applicable.
Yeah, yeah. You got to be a sponge. You gotta like ask questions, be hungry. You can't teach fire. You can't teach fire. So I look for people with fire. I remember a young me and my partner Steven. And I always look for that. And that's actually more important than a great book is just crazy fire. You just
Fire.
want it.
True. I like that take. And then, and there's arguments over these awards, whether or not they're good or evil. I get it. But in this case, it's a really good understanding that it did add some fire and some confidence in you and recognition. And that's important.
Yeah. Well, also like it was another thing. It was research to death. Like they put it in with like four other things. And like we actually love something more than that. But like this was a really big deal to Unilever. And it was it ended up being, so this is more important than the awards. It ended up being the most successful cleaning product ad in Unilever's history.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So like they had
What was it called?
called Vim Cream, and they had they had like a Walmart test or something that proves this stat. And when the spot was on, it had a over 20% increase in purchases. I'm not a CMO type. I don't have a marketing degree. So I don't know this stuff, but they had a 20% increase while the spot was on with no other marketing initiatives. And I was like blown away by that. And I was like, that felt so good to me. It's like, whoa, like, are you sure? Like the ad is making people buy it 20% more. And that was crazy to me.
Yeah. I feel like we kind of forget about the sales part of our jobs. Sometimes some people I have to remind.
Yeah. It's not art.
Yeah.
We're not just doing art.
Yeah. Did you go to portfolio school? Where'd you go undergrad? How did you know you wanted to get into all this?
I did a degree in psychology. Which I didn't want to go into, I thought, but it was good. I found out what was wrong with me and my parents. So that
There
was
we
cool.
go. Did you fix it?
You know what? I'm pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty good now. It's taken a while, but I think I fixed it. I think I finally fixed it. It's just, yeah. And then like, I was actually going to go after that. The secret plan was I took psychology because it was kind of easy, and I wanted to bump up my grades for law school. So, and I was about to take the LSAT, and I happened to talk to someone who said they were fucking miserable. A lawyer, like they were fucking miserable. There was like no, just like they were spiritually debilitated in their job. Like there was no joy. It was just for money. There was no fun in it. Just, so I'm like, fuck. So I didn't take the LSAT. Like I was scheduled, like I didn't show up the next day and take it. And, I went on, whatever, Ask Jeeves or whatever it was. And I'm like, hey, how do you get into advertising? And, what popped up, a few things, and this school called Seneca College popped up, which was actually on campus at my university. It was kind of just like right down the road. So I went into that, and then I proceeded to drop out. So I did about a year, and there were a lot of things in this course at the time that I found that I didn't love. Like it wasn't just a straight up portfolio course. The portfolio part was my favorite by far, but it was like, media spending and things like that. And I was like, that wasn't for me. It's like, it wasn't for you either. Looking at your face, yes. So like, that's not for me. These former students came in the class, and they talked about what's going on in their lives. Like they were the success stories, right? People who were working at really good agencies, and I was just amazed by them and like so inspired. And like afterwards, I pulled one of them aside and I said like, hey, so this like media part, like I don't really love that. And they said like straight up, listen, if you just have a good portfolio, that's all that matters. This is not the kind of job where you get hired based on a resume right away. You get hired with a portfolio. Like that's it. So I dropped out and I worked on my portfolio only, something I wasn't able to do. So I worked on it like 12, 14 hours a day, just creating ads. And I went around, I got people's advice, and then eventually just got in, everyone made the book a little better and a little.
How long
better.
did it take you to do when you were,
Yeah.
I think you said that the classes that you were taking, this was a graduate school of some sort?
It took 6 months. 6 months, I got a job at Y&R, and I was the first person to get a job out of my program out of 80 people. So, and I was a dropout. Like I was like that one dropout. So,
and when you dropped out,
yeah,
I mean, parents, like, how did you explain it to guardians, family?
Well, there was another factor at the time too, which just like, it just made it really easy. I was really poor, and I just couldn't afford it. Like getting like a gig to help pay for it, like it was challenging. And I just said, you know what, I'm going to hunker down, work on my portfolio, like be a freeloader in my mom's basement for a while, and just try to get in. And I eventually got in. Another happy moment until it wasn't, until I got fired.
Right. Well, I want to hover here because I think that's important too. The fact that you realize you had to hunker down and lock in, I've been telling students like that is, my goal is with this podcast to kind of share these stories. So while they're in undergrad or at community college, they can do it while they're in school as an undergrad. So they don't just graduate and then they have to like go to a portfolio school or hunker down for 6 months. And it could take longer than 6 months depending on the market. And now today with the portfolio schools out there, the bar is even higher. So it starts with, early locking in and building up that portfolio. I mean, does that resonate? I mean, does that process, do you think, did you have a creative partner? Did you have an art director that you were working with? when you were in your basement?
Yes. I was not a good Photoshop person. I worked with a few guys, um, uh, uh, Sky Rob and Marvin, and it was great. They're amazing guys. Rob is still in the industry, and I had to. I didn't know how to do the
And
Photoshop.
were they in the similar boat as you, or were they already in the industry? Why were they helping you out?
No, Rob was in my class at school, and I would share some ideas with him, and he would with me as well, and like we just kind of acted as a team while he was in school.
So you were doing his homework for him?
No,
with him.
He's a talented guy. It's just he was also just super hungry like me. And,
you have to you got to find your accomplices and find those people that you trust. And you only had usually like one or two people that you worked with as partners on when you were 6 months locking in.
Yeah. That was basically it. Or I had stuff that looked like shit.
But if you're a recruiter and somebody clearly states that they're a copywriter, are you judging them as hard on their visual aesthetics?
No, but sometimes it's hard if you got to just
if it's really bad,
you have to describe the visual.
Yeah. Do you think the process is still the same? I mean, if you were to break in today, would you have to do the same thing, or would you entertain a portfolio school? Or
I would go to a portfolio school.
It's a good structure.
Yeah, Mike Dubrick, who's our CCO in Toronto. He is the dean at Miami Ad School here, and I think it's a really good thing. And you know what? Like Seneca's good, and there's a lot of good schools out there.
Yeah, it's good for people that they know exactly what they want to do. They have the financial means to do it, and they want that structure. It's like if you work hard, it's not guaranteed still, but you're still going to come out with something pretty good.
Yeah, for sure.
So you got in, you worked hard. I love that. I love it. I just love that process. And I think people in undergrads should kind of accept that and realize you are at the point in your life where you can do that. You can stay up late, lock yourself in a classroom or in your room or in a conference room somewhere with a friend, grab some energy drinks, whatever sort of vices you entertain, and just knock something fun out with no client permission, no client feedback. This is the only time that you can really go out there and make whatever you dream of.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's fun. I'd also recommend don't lock yourself in a basement or a room specifically.
Yeah,
it wasn't an accident. The good ideas come when you are in a coffee shop, a bar, something with windows, or the subway. Subway's also great, right? You have all that stimuli around you, and if you're not cracking it, change seats. And then it's you'll see something. You'll see an ad in the subway if you change seats. It's that's whatever. You see something like a radish, and that spurs something. You know what I mean? Or you get off at a stop and you see, someone getting a slice of pizza and they spill something on their shirt, that spurs something else. But if you're just stuck in a room like the one I'm in right now, you see it's all beige and that matches my sweatshirt. You're not going to nail it. So I tell people all the time, walk around, change seats, go out, live don't just come up with ideas in a room.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, and that process, do you still? I mean, being your title as the global CCO, do you still engage in these activities, or is it more so management? Do you miss being in the process?
I dig in probably way more than I should. I go to shoots.
Good.
I work with teams. I like it.
Yeah.
You know what?
Do they like it is the question.
Well, that is a good question. I don't do it as jam sessions. I just try to be supportive in, I try to be supportive in office hours. And, if they, just like I would with my partner back in the day, if they say something they love, I'm like, oh, what if you did this? And they say, what if you did that? And you just get stuff flowing. And if you're laughing, that's a good thing. So if you're not laughing, if the three of us aren't laughing and having a good time, I'll moonwalk out of the room. But, yeah, I you know what? We happen to have a pretty good retention rate. So I haven't scared too many people away yet.
That's good. What's it like working at Rethink? I think people know that they see the accolades and you guys are doing something right. Is there a secret sauce? What's it like within the building? A lot of people aspire to work for an agency like Rethink.
Yeah, I know you had Daniel Lobaton on, and
we get pretty granular about this too. So
yeah, so I know. I love that he went right in there. He did like my standard answer, which is just like describing the process. So it'll be redundant if I talk too much about that and I don't know if you talked about crafts, but that is one thing that we do to really help with quality control. Did he talk about crafts? That acronym? Clear, relevant, achievable, fresh, true, shareable.
Yes,
I don't think he did. He did. Okay, so that is something that we really do to have quality control. Like we have a lot.
Who's communicating it all the time? Do you have to find yourself being like the enforcer of this?
Yes.
Because I'm thinking about internal communications right now in my career. Like, to get everybody on board to buy it. You can make up acronyms all the time that are helpful, but it means nothing if the leaders and everybody else is believing into it.
Leaders are repeaters. Leaders are repeaters. Leaders are repeaters. So, I tell all of our group heads, ECDs, CCOs over and over and over, hammer it home. It gets down to I just worked with the team yesterday. They shared some ideas and I laid it out with scores. So I'm like, hey, this is what we do. This is what we do. They're a new team. And I just described hey, this is how we grade things, out of 5 under clarity, out of 5. And I'm writing down their ideas. I'm just going to tell you, this is why it's kind of I'm iffy on presenting it. Yes, it's 5 out of 5 on clarity, but on the R, kind of 0 out of 5 because there's nothing really topical about it or relevant. It feels like addy. It's just this product is the best. The open in a hospital delivery room, this product is the best. It's not relevant. It's not relevant to anything happening in culture right now. Like you'll see with a lot of our Heinz work, for instance. It's always tapping into something. Like people doing puzzles during COVID. We made an all red puzzle, the slowest puzzle around, or Heinz AI. It's always those when we are looking at this stuff. CDs are encouraged to write down a score just so you know it. Teams as they're coming up with ideas, filter it. Give yourself a score. Is it relevant? If it's not, don't do it. Is it true to the brand? Is it fresh? Have I seen it before? And ultimately, are people going to share it? So, we're kind of religious about it. It seems culty. But it's quality control. We've grown 350%. It's not just 5, 6.
Method.
5, 6 years. So like it matters, like I'm not seeing everything. So it's good for juniors, intermediate, ACDs, just lock into this. It's what most creatives just know, instinctively. However, it's guardrails, and when you write it down and you follow it, it's hard not to do something that cuts through.
Right.
And you ask, like, what's like special? Like, what is special? What's the secret sauce? Yes, there's like formulaic things and process, and we love process here. Like, we're not allergic to it.
Good. Yeah.
But ultimately, what it is we want people to like what they're doing. We tell people, listen, we want you to do the best work of your career as clients and everyone here. That's our goal. And we don't want to seem like hypocrites. So, like, when one of these places I got fired from, terrible agency, I'm not going to say what it was, but the CD at the time said, I got some like dealer ad, and they said, you could win a one-show pencil with this. It was like the worst brief ever. And this is before I was at Zig, a great agency with great leaders, Elspeth and Lorraine, before I got that BIM brief.
Yeah.
But before that happened, they said, like, yeah, the CD said you can win a gold pencil on anything. And I'm kind of like looking around this agency that I won't name, and I'm like, well, where are all the gold pencils? Where's all the awards? All I see up on the walls are these terrible dealer ads. What about like the work that you've done over the last 5-10 years? Like, where is it? It's just like, as a young creative, I was just like, I was wondering this, and I was kind of like, can you win a gold pencil on anything? Because, like, there's nothing in this agency that suggests that I can. However, I like any young creative, you look at the can reel or the one show, and you see it, you're inspired by it. I didn't want to be at an agency, and when I'm talking about Rethink now, where I say that, and we can't back it up. So I've been trying to really hard, where creatives believe it. When you say you can win a gold pencil on anything, that there's evidence, that ideas get presented to clients, even if they're not on a brief. They're just something a creative came up. They were just like, I have a great Heinz idea. I have a great Coors Light idea. And I want there to be so much evidence for everyone in the agency, where it's just so apparent that people are fighting for their ideas. They're texting clients, talking to people, managing legal loopholes, whatever you got to do. I just want there to be that evidence, so they, when they are in the shower, it's like, what? I have a funny idea, and they're not like thinking, well, fuck, but it'll never get sold, or
Right.
like it'll never get done. I want people truly just like thinking that it is all not only possible, but probable.
Yeah, even that thinking, that style of like, oh, I have this funny idea, or this is interesting. Can I share this with somebody? I want to talk to somebody and work on it. Allowing them that mindset, that's so important. It's something that I try to instill within the team here on Breaking and Entering. Like, if any of our like employees, coworkers here in the media company here, if they have anything, tell me right away. Mock it up. Let me see it. Like, we'll talk about it. And they'll text me at like 1 a.m. if they have ideas. I'll be sleeping, but it's fun to wake up to those ideas.
Yeah. Yeah. And advertising it's one of the most fun industries in the world. It's one of the only. I think Luke Sullivan said this in Hey Whipple. I think he said, This is not from me. But it's like one of the few businesses where, someone will be like throwing a tennis ball at a wall and they'll be wearing like weird shoes, and like, some business person will walk by and be like, let me leave them alone. They're thinking, that's like really fun. Like my brother-in-law is an accountant. Like, it's like, I would hate that. I would suck at it. This is the only thing I could probably do. But we're so lucky to be in this. So you gotta have fun. You can't like go into work spiritually devastated thinking, you know what? Nothing I think of is going to go anywhere. You got to think like, you know what? Anything's possible. I'm at an agency where anything's possible, and we try to just really, we try to walk the walk.
Totally. I believe you. I want to take this last couple minutes here to just kind of hear your thoughts then on what you look for in talent, right? I think I believe you. I want, like, people are going to want to work for your agency. So now let's speak directly to the listeners on like, what do you look for either in a portfolio? You said that fire is something that passion trumps portfolio potentially. So want to get a moment here, like what a recent example, maybe somebody you hired and why you hired that person, however you want to take this. I think
I'll give you a not so recent example.
Sure.
This is the best hire I've ever made. And it was at my previous agency, Crispin Border Bogusky. And this was...
what year was that? Old Crispin?
Yeah, it was... So I mentioned that BIM thing, that agency was called Zig. It became Crispin Porter while I was there. And I eventually rose up from fired junior copywriter to CCO and partner. But I eventually rose up to that level. And to answer your question, towards the tail end of my time there, a student came in who wasn't young. He wasn't young, and he quit his government job. He had some boring government job. So that was part of his story. And he's like, listen, I just hated it. I just hated doing it. I just feel like I wanted to do something creative. So I just quit and went to portfolio school. And he told me the story, and his book was okay. He had this crazy combination of being humble, of being like on the edge of a seat, like listening to every word I was saying. He seemed genuinely like he wasn't there for like a job interview. He was there to learn. And he was like a sponge. You could see the wheels turning, and I'm like, I don't know, I like this kid. The book is like a 6.5 out of 10. I've seen better books. But there was fire in the fact that he quit his job. Quit his job just to do this.
He did it. Yeah.
Fire the way he was talking. And I said, like, nice to meet you. And, his book wasn't good enough. So I said, I shook hands, and that was the end of it. And then like 2 minutes later, the wheels were turning. I'm like, there's something about that kid. It's everything I said to you. That's what was going through my head. And I ended up hiring him as like a not so young junior. Yeah. And his name is Mike Dubrick. And Mike Dubrick worked with me for a year and a half at Crispin Porter. And then when I came to Rethink, and it was just starting out in very early days in Toronto, Mike basically came with me. And now he's the CCO and a partner here. And he's one of the best creatives on the planet, and one of the nicest guys. And he still has that same fire. He's going to hate that I'm talking about him like this, but that's what I look for. I look, so it's anytime I talk to people, I remember my meeting with Mike, and I'm looking for those things. Where's the fire? Where's the aw shucks humbleness and that sponge mentality?
And you can tell. I mean, if you look for it, it's not hard to find, and you can really tell when it's not there. You can talk when I visit schools and talk to students. You can tell the people that are just showing up or, not interested. If they're in a class or if I'm speaking to an advertising class, I can tell when somebody doesn't want to go into an agency, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But for the people that really do, it kind of speaks. It jumps out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. Aaron, if anybody has more questions about Rethink, about your career, I know you're a busy guy. How can they reach out to you, ask you questions, maybe a portfolio review, something like that? What are you thinking?
Just reach out to Mike Dubrick or Daniel Lobot. Okay. So seriously,
you want me to vet him?
When I was trying to get in, I never forget the people who just really went out of their way to help me. And I won't forget them. And I try to do that as well. So if they want to talk to me, absolutely. I can give my email on this. I don't care. Like it's totally cool. Like talk to me and ask questions about how to get in. And I'm more than happy to answer.
Cool. Well, do you want to say your email then? I won't write it in the description. It's for the people that listen to the end.
If you have a few 100 million listeners, I may not get back to everyone.
We do.
So it's Aaron at rethinkideas.com.
You won't regret that. I think that's a good move. I think it's a good move.
I love talking to students and juniors because listen, I was there, and I was a very fragile, young writer. Just didn't know what to do or who to turn to, and I gave all the advice.
They gotta. I mean, if I'm a listener, I'm not too far away from what the listener's age is. I would not reach out until I was ready, especially with you, because you might only get one shot. Who knows? And you might be different, but I would probably.
No, I honestly, I would be pretty
buttoned up.
For me, it's like you don't get just one shot. Like you, I want to see the fire, but I also just like helping people. If you don't get a gig here, you can get a job. You can get a gig somewhere else, and maybe there's something I say that can just help. So that's some of the most memorable conversations I've had were with people who didn't hire me, but they gave me great advice on how to approach the next thing or a thing in 2 months.
And there's so many variables in getting hired. I mean, you got to have a client potentially or a new scope, something like that. So finances have to be there. You can have a great portfolio and they're just not hiring.
Yeah. Yeah. I think also it's like, it is kind of a weird time now, unfortunately, but things always pick up in the second half of the year.
But I think all the advice here is super helpful. So I want to thank you for coming on. Like even the hunkering down, the resilience that you demonstrated in your story to the overcoming that, winning a lion, that was insane. So thank you. And even sharing your email, I just want to thank you so much for coming on. I thought it was great.
Yeah. No, my pleasure. I hope people email me and like bug me a lot. I'm all good with it.
Nice. Love that. Thank you, Aaron.
Okay. All right. This was fun.
Thank you.
Okay.